going to present Agenda Item 16, Application of Maximum Levels to Multi-Ingredient Products. As a background, in the previous meeting, CCF17 2024, questions were raised about maximum levels for mycotoxins in spice mixtures. The Secretary provided a recommendation regarding CX193, suggesting the application of individual mLs to the whole mixture based on relative proportions of ingredients. Several views were expressed on this proposal, noting that the issue extends beyond the spices to other mixtures, and the general standard already offers guidance for handling mixtures. CCF17 suggested that the Codex Secretariat issue a CL letter to request comments on the need for further guidance for multi-ingredient products. Already in the previous meeting, it was requested to give CL letter, and members and observers needed to comment on the following points. In regard to multi-ingredient products, if there is an assist for further guidance, we proposed an amendment to the current guidance in General Standard CX193 or add any remarks on maximum levels or other additions or proposals. In regard to analysis of the proposal, the current Codex provision determine maximum levels for contaminants for agricultural foods, for processed food of multi-component. Other concentration criteria are applied. Separate mLs may be established for processed products if contamination patterns differ consistently or if contamination occurs during processing. This approach relies on knowing the composition and contaminant behavior in processed or multi-ingredient foods. That's why, in regard to the parameters to reduce this matter, in many cases, especially with products like spice mixtures, the relative proportions of ingredients are unknown or difficult to determine. This lack of compositional data challenges the practical application of mLs using the current standards approach. Without ingredient proportion data, enforcement and compliance assessment become complex and inconsistent. The proposed new work practical approach, as discussed at CCF17, a pragmatic solution is to apply the lowest mL of an individual ingredient as a screening level to the entire multi-ingredient mixture when proportions are known. If contaminants levels are below or equal to this lowest, if levels exceed this threshold or equal, it is compliant without more testing. If the level is more than the limit, there is need for more evaluation. The committee will study new methodology and other measures in the 193 criteria, and this aims at balancing the feasibility and to protection of the consumers. This will be beneficial in case of lack of information. Proposed calculation of mLs. When ingredient proportions are known, the mL for mixture is calculated as a weighted average When the proportions of ingredients in a mixture are unknown, we apply the lowest ml is applied if the contaminant concentration exceeds that ml. Most important comments by the countries on the proposal. The need for further guidance. There was support from several countries like Argentina, Brazil, Canada, Ghana, Kenya, Egypt, EU, Indonesia. As you can see, to put broader support and to include the proportions of unknown ingredients and the lowest ingredients and limits. The proposed approach included amending Annex 1, supported by EU, Egypt, Brazil, Indonesia, Iran, Canada, and adding the remarks supported by Canada, Singapore, Japan, EU, Ghana. Regard to alternative options, use predominant ingredients ML. Singapore supported that. Turkey supported the maximum levels of spices mixture. Thailand, EU, Canada limit application to specific cases. Also, there were concerns of industry supported by USA, FIA, ISDI, suggest risk-based targeted MLs instead on the whole product. The exaggeration will make obstacles at trade level. Other recommendations: propose cooperation like Ghana, Kenya, EU to cooperate with the CC mass and use of case studies and alignment with Codex precedents. UAE emphasized full ingredient disclosure. Several industry like FIA, ISDI supported the science basis. The recommendations that we have from Arab countries support Arab countries to develop a clear, harmonized guidance to ensure establishing clear, harmonized guidance within Codex frameworks and to emphasize practicality and trade facilitation. Collect and analyze data on typical ingredient proportions in common spice mixtures or multi-ingredient products within the region to support science-based ML application. That was the last slide. Thank you very much. At the end, Egypt extends thanks to Dr. Karima for her cooperation and encouraging the cooperation among us and to reach this fruitful result that we presented. Thank you very much, Dr. Karima, for the wonderful coordination.